All right, shalom, Israel. Most High in Christ bless you. Happy Sabbath day again. We're going to get straight into the class. I'm not going to get the title just yet because I'm going to ask a couple questions. So those of you that's online, be prepared to unmute yourself and answer the question. Not going to be hard. It's going to be simple stuff. Just see if you're thinking. All right. So let's open up with Matthew chapter 14. And we're going to start at verse 14, and we're going to go through 21. 14 through 21. Come on.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verse 14. And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion toward them. And he healed their sick.
Now, this is right after John the Baptist was beheaded. All right. So there's a great multitude that will follow after Christ. Watch this.
And when it was evening, his disciples came to him, saying, This is a desert place, and the time is now past. Send the multitude away, and they may go into the villages and buy themselves victuals.
Because they've been with us all day, traveling and everything else, and they're hungry, we're hungry, but we don't have enough to feed them. So send them away so they can go get something to eat. We can recharge, we can eat, and then we'll go from there. Read on.
But Jesus said unto them, They need not depart. Give ye them to eat.
So he says, no, I don't want them to leave. Give them something to eat right now. Read on.
And they said unto him, We have here but 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He said, Bring them hither to me. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass. And he took 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking upon the heaven, he blessed and brake, and gave the loaves to his disciples.
So this mixed multitude well, it's not just mixed multitude, but this large number of people that followed after him, after Christ and the disciples. Is everybody repented? We don't know. Probably. They're learning for the first time right now, right? So much so that they're following Christ, trying to figure out what's going on. So these are new believers, if you will, at the time, right? These are new believers. So Christ did what? What did he do?
And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the grass, and he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes.
So I want that to be in the back of your mind. These are new people following after Christ. All right, come on.
And looking up to heaven, he blessed and brake, and gave loaves to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. And they did all eat and were filled. And they took up the fragments that remained, 12 baskets full.
So what did he start with? How much did he start with? 2 fish and what? Was it 5, right? Loaves?
Yes. Yes, 5 loaves, 2 fish.
So 2 fish, 5 loaves, and he break it, and everybody did eat, what the scripture said. Read on from there.
And they that had eaten were about 5,000 men, beside women and children.
So we're not even counting. They're not even counting the women. So if you got 5,000 men there, more than likely most of them had wives, and if they had wives, they had 2 or 3 children at least. So you can just conservatively say there was at least 10,000 people there.
Yeah.
Conservatively, right? So 10,000 people ate from 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. So, and after everybody was full, there was still fragments left over. Watch this.
That was verse 21.
That was verse 21?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now Christ, those people that follow, these are new people following after him, and instantly he fed them, right? Spiritually and physically. Now, let's go to Numbers chapter 11. And let's start at verse 4 and 5.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting.
Now, keep in mind, these are all the Israelites that followed Moses out of Egypt, right? They were set free. So they all followed Moses. So these are the ones that had faith. How much faith did they have? Enough faith to sacrifice a lamb, put the blood on the doorpost, and then follow Moses all the way on out, right? Through the sea, through everything. So now, I want to start with the difference between he fed those that were new, right, instantly. Now you have the Israelites that actually been through some trials, some tribulations, and escaped out of Egypt. And let's look what happened. Read.
And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat?
So now they're complaining, who shall give us flesh to eat? You know, we're in Egypt. They're thinking about their bellies versus thinking about their freedom. All right, read on.
We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt, freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes.
Okay, so now. This is my question. What's the difference? Why did Christ feed everyone instantly back in Matthew, but then right here, the Lord allowed them to get to the point where they were hungry? Well, at least they said they were complaining about what they had to eat. What was the difference? What was the difference?
Brother Chris?
Yes.
People in this time saw many miracles, or they saw miracles before, so they should have known better.
Yes, but they also saw miracles that followed Christ too back then. They also saw miracles during Christ, during that time in Matthew. So, but no, that is a good point, but that's not the point I'm looking for. Somebody else. What's the difference here? What's the Lord doing? Anybody? It's not that hard. Trust me. This is not a deep one. The first thought that came in your mind, that's probably what it is. Brother Shemaiah from Hawaii.
Shalom, sir. The first thing that came into my mind was their faith.
Faith, yeah, but there's something else. There's something I'm looking for. I'm looking for something. What was the difference here? What was the difference? One more. Anybody else? One more guess. One more guess. When I said y'all gonna be mad. Okay, let's keep reading. Let's keep reading. Let's go. Let's start at verse Numbers. Let's say the same chapter. Let's start at verse 1.
Okay, verse 1.
And we're going to go through 6.
Numbers chapter 11 and verse 1.
It's not hard, y'all. Trust me, it's not hard. Watch.
And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord. And the Lord heard it. And his anger was kindled. And the fire of the Lord burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And the people cried unto Moses. And when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. And the mixed multitude.
Well, what started that? People were murmuring, complaining, right?
Yes.
Come on.
And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting.
So even after that happened, then they fell a lusting, right? They wasn't scared that some people got burnt up. After a while, they started murmuring and everything else again. Come on.
And the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who shall give us flesh to eat? We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna.
Now they said, hey, there's nothing to eat right here. Basically, I'm tired of eating the same manna every day. Read on. There's nothing to eat at all?
There is nothing to eat. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes.
Okay, now let's go to Exodus 16. We're going to start at verse 1. And we're going to go all the way to verse 20. So what's the difference between Matthew when he fed him instantly versus right here?
Exodus chapter 16 and verse 1. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt.
So now we're all, read the dates again one more time.
On the 15th day of the 2nd month after the departing out of the land of Egypt.
So we're right there. This is right after we left out of Egypt. We fled out of Egypt. All right.
And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness.
So in 2 months, less than 2 months, right? Because it's the 2nd month. They're already murmuring against Moses. Now, they done seen every plague, everything that the Lord did against Egypt. And in a month's time, they're murmuring, man, look what Moses did to us. He got us out here in the wilderness. You know, we was eating what we wanted to in Egypt. We was doing this. Yeah, but you was in slavery. We was never meant to be in slavery. All right? So read on.
And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them.
What?
That I may prove them.
Why was we in the wilderness?
That I may prove them.
Why didn't the Lord feed them instantly?
That I may prove them.
That's what the Lord was doing. That was the difference between Matthew, the account that we read in Matthew, versus the account here. The Lord could have fed them right then and there if he wanted to. God could have. He gave them manna, so he has the ability to feed them. We know that, right? But the whole point of that was to prove them. So what's the title of the class? Title of the class is The Lord's Proving You. All right? A lot of us make the statement that, find me that. A lot of people, you know, we say, yeah, you know, I'm getting prepared for the wilderness, you know, when the Lord returns, right? I got news for you. You're in the wilderness now. But no, this isn't the wilderness, but this is another proving stage, right? Now, as we go through the classes, it's going to make more sense to you. So we were complaining. All the Israelites were complaining during that time. The Lord, we don't have meat to eat. Remember, we had this in Egypt. Remember, we had this, we had that. But this is what they forgot. Read that.
The book of 2nd Ezra.
And we coming right back to Exodus, all right? We put your thumb there, but we're going to go to 2nd Ezra real quick. Put your thumb in, 2nd Ezra, but put your thumb in Exodus, all right? We coming back.
2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes.
So this whole world was created for us, and we forgot that, and we were willing to be slaves in Egypt. And we remembered, oh, well, we did eat what we wanted to. We were doing this. And guess what? That's the same way it is here in America right now. You know, you look at the Christian church and the pastors, they don't want the world to end. They don't want Christ to come back. Why? No. Because they're looking at it. I remember when I had that $65 million jet and I had this, I had that. Or I had that 2-story house. I had a good job. It's the same thing. How we're in slavery right now, but we look at, well, what we got, you know, and the Lord's trying to prove you right now. Like, this is all temporary. That's why the Lord says these temples, they'll be destroyed. You know, I'm not getting excited about this, you know, and that's the mindset that we got to have is everything that's right here. This is just temporary, you know. But anyway, we're going to get more into that. Let's go back to Exodus. Yes, something you want to say?
I just want to say, hey, some brothers don't want the world to end because of their video game. Just saying.
Or the Jordan. Man, I just spent all this money on all these Jordans.
For real.
And you're going to burn these Jordans up, taking these Jordans to the wilderness with me.
The book of Exodus, chapter 16 and verse 4.
Come on.
Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them.
Do what?
That I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
Why do you think he had to say that they may gather a certain rate? Because guess what? You was always going to have some greedy Israelites and be like, you know what? I don't know when this is coming back, so I'm going to get me a double. Collect. Hey, honey, get all the kids. Come on, let's collect what we can collect. And let's store this up because I don't know when it's going to come back. Same thing you see right now, people in the stores.
Yeah.
I don't need no toilet paper, nothing like that, right? But, hey, they got it in the stores. Let me grab 2 or 3 packs right now. You know, that's the same way. You was going to say, officer?
I was going to say that, like how they doing with the toilet paper.
Exactly, yep. So that's why the Lord's like, look, I know y'all Negroes, all right? When I say Negroes, that's all 12 tribes. I know how y'all think. I only want you to grab a certain rate. Why? You got to trust me. I'm proving you. I'm going to do this again tomorrow and every day. But, you know, did we believe that?
Nah.
Keep reading.
Verse 5. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily.
Why is that? Because they got to prepare for the Sabbath day. Come on.
And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, At even, then ye shall know that the Lord hath brought you out from the land of Egypt.
So what's this for? What's this daily reminder of the manna being delivered to them in the morning where they just got to go out and collect it? The reminder is, I'm here every day. I'm going to take care of your needs. Don't worry. But some people lose faith. They lose patience. And, man, I don't know if this is going to, are you sure it's going to be here tomorrow? Because remember, we was hungry recently. Is he going to? And so people start letting that fill and destroy their judgment, right? And not let them trust the Lord. You think about it. None of us here have seen any miracle face to face, eyeball, whatever, with our own eyeballs that Christ did in this body, right? but yet we're here believing this truth. They just seen Moses literally put his staff down and split the sea. You know what I'm saying? And walk through it. And in less than a month after seeing that, plus all the plagues, and they already lost faith. Just that fast. It's mind-boggling. All right?
It is.
Come on.
Verse 7. And in the morning then ye shall see the glory of the Lord, for that he heareth your murmurings against the Lord. And what are we that ye murmur against us? And Moses said, This shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat.
So he's saying, okay, manna's not good enough for you. Okay, I'll give you flesh to eat. Fine. Come on.
And in the morning bread to the full, for that the Lord heareth your murmurings which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings and are not against us, but against the Lord. And Moses spake unto Aaron, Say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before the Lord, for he hath heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in a cloud. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread.
So I'm going to give you flesh to eat and bread. Come on.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord your God.
Why am I doing this?
And ye shall know that I am the Lord your God.
As a reminder, I'm your God. I got you. Just trust me. I'm proving you right now. Come on.
And it came to pass that in the evening the quails came up and covered the camp. And in the morning the dew lay around about the host. And when the dew that lay down, and when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as a hoar frost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, This is the bread which the Lord hath given you to eat.
So this is the bread that the Lord given you to eat. You got manna right here. They didn't even know what it was at first. What's this? This is manna right here. Okay, come on.
This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, and an omer for every man.
So that's a measurement for every man.
According to the number of your persons.
So how many people you got in your house, that's how much you're going to get, enough to feed everybody. But it's going to be enough for you to eat to the full. Come on.
Take ye every man for them which are in his tents.
So gather everything you need for those that are in your house, your tent. Come on.
And the children of Israel did so, and gathered, some more, some less.
So some gathered more, some gathered less. Why? Because they had bigger families. All right, come on.
And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over.
So the man that said, you know what, I'm gathering more than what I really need, at the end of the day, he had what?
Had nothing over.
He had nothing left, because the Lord made sure that it was, even though you may have gathered extra, he made it just enough for your family. Come on.
And he that gathered little,
those that gathered just a little,
had no lack.
But they had no lack. They still ate to the full. So everybody ate to the full. Come on.
They gathered every man according to his eating.
Come on.
And Moses said, Let no man leave of it till the morning.
So Moses gave a warning. Don't try to stockpile this food and be like, you know, I may wake up in the middle of the night hungry. I'm going to do this. No, you have to get rid of it. Come on.
Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses.
They did what?
They hearkened not unto Moses.
Some said, you know what? I don't believe it's going to be there tomorrow. I don't know. So I'm going to store up a little bit of this food because I don't know if the Lord is going to provide this tomorrow. Come on.
But some of them left of it until the morning.
So some left of it till the morning, which they were told not to.
And it bred worms and stank. And Moses was wroth with them.
And and look what the Lord did to it, you know, because they decided. Because that's why the Lord said, just take what you need. But you're always going to have some that's greedy that, hey, no, I'm taking more. I don't know. I don't trust the Lord. I don't have no faith. Now, I want you to think about this whole congregation that was with Moses right now. The Lord brought them in the wilderness to prove them, right? How many of them was deemed worthy to cross over? We know the answer to that, right? Yeah. Only two. Only two out of everybody. So had the Lord fed them like he did in Matthew, guess what? He'd have fed them. He'd have, you know, instantly, you know, where they would never been murmuring and everything else. Anytime before they even wanted something, he just gave it to them. Guess what? All those people, all those wicked people would have got over into the land that didn't deserve it. That's the same thing with you in America right now. The Lord got us, and we're going to go through some more scriptures. You know, he's given us the bread of affliction, adversity, whatever, right? He's given us all these different things. And we're looking at like, you know what? If I had this, I could do better in the truth. If I had a bigger house, if I had a better car, if I had this, the Lord is proving you with what you got. Now, that's not to say you can't strive for better, right? But you can't, don't let that go into murmuring, you know, why this person got that and I'm not doing so good. They seem to be so happy. The Lord's proving you, and you need to make sure that you pass that test so you can make it to the kingdom. All right? Now, let's go to Matthew 17.
That's a real heavy point, officer, because some brothers, they think that they need to go in overdrive, you know, in order to get, you know, a better job or,
Yes.
you know, set themselves up. But the Lord is proving them right where they at.
Where you're at right now. And that's not to say, because see, some people say, well, then should I work hard or should I not? Yes, but guess what? Proverbs 11:1 real quick. Finish making your point, though.
No, like that. What you're saying. You go ahead.
Let's go to Proverbs 11:1 real quick. I wasn't going to pull this out. Let's just go here real quick. I like this a lot.
Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 1. A false balance is abomination to the Lord.
You see that? The Lord wants you to have a balance in your life. He wants you to spend time with your wife. He wants you to spend time with your children. Obviously, put work in the truth. Obviously, you got to actually work with your hands to bring in income, whether you work for somebody or have your own business. But it has to be at a balance, you know. So, yes, you can say, look, my family's growing. I need to get a bigger house. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, or, hey, I had these cars for X amount of years, starting to break down. It's time for me to get a new car. There's nothing wrong with that. But then when those cars and that house become your motivating factor in life versus the building up the Lord's kingdom, that's when your balance is what?
Way off.
Is way off, right? So let's go back to Matthew.
You done tipped the scales.
So you got to have that balance. Got to have that balance. Let's go to Matthew 17, and we're going to read 24 through 27.
The book of Matthew, chapter 17, verse 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, doth not your master pay tribute?
So now it's time to pay taxes. All right, now it's time to pay taxes. Come on.
He said, yes. And when he was come into the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or the strangers?
So he says, who collects taxes and who gets taxed? You know, all right, read on.
Peter said unto him, of strangers. Jesus said unto him, then are the children free.
Right. Basically what Christ is saying is those who in power, they're going to look out for their own, and they're going to depend on who? The strangers to build up their kingdom. Does that sound familiar? Look around. Where you at? Right? In America, they don't, you know, we always see how the law is slack for Esau, right? That's how you can have George Zimmerman murder, not kill, murder Trayvon Martin, and then it's self-defense. He followed him. He was told to leave him alone by the police. Don't follow him. Leave him alone. He follows him, triggers a fight, or whatever happened. He ended up killing Trayvon, and he's the innocent one.
Self-defense.
The law slack for them. Sandra Bland goes into jail healthy. And then in 24 hours, she's dead. All right? Along with all our other brothers and sisters, they all get off. You know what I'm saying? They're found not guilty. But when we do the slightest thing, it's not only are we guilty, they throw us the maximum years, you know, the worst punishment, you name it, right? Why? Because we're the strangers. We're here to build up their kingdom in their minds. So Christ is trying to let them know, listen, don't get comfortable here. We are the strangers to them. And as long as they're in rulership, we're always going to be second class, but that's not what we were designed for. All right, but that's not the point that I want. I want to get to this right here. Watch this.
Verse 27, notwithstanding.
So, but Christ is, you know, we do have to, we are following the laws of the land, so we do got to pay the taxes. So look what Christ did.
Lest we should offend them.
So let's pay these taxes before they try to come after us and put another charge on us, all right?
Go thou to the sea and cast and hook.
Go where?
Go thou to the sea and cast and hook.
Dig in your pocket.
Go thou to the sea and cast and hook.
Grab your wallet.
And cast and hook.
So the Lord said to go where?
Go thou to the sea.
So he said, don't look for the money right here. I want you to go to the sea.
And cast and hook.
Go fishing.
And take up the fish that first cometh up.
So the very first fish you catch.
And when thou hast
Don't catch and be like, oh, this fish too small. You know, you may throw it back. This ain't big enough to feed nobody. He said, no, the very first fish you catch, bring it up.
And when thou hast opened his mouth,
And when you take the hook out of his mouth and you open the mouth,
thou shalt find a piece of money,
then you're going to find money in the fish's mouth.
that take and give unto them for me and thee.
So he says, that money, I want you to take that to the tax collectors and pay our taxes with it. Now, I want y'all to think about this for a second. Did Christ have the power to put the money in his wallet? If they had a wallet or a bag or whatever they had at the time that they stored their money in, right?
Of course.
Did Christ have the ability to just, hey, check your pocket right now and just go pay the man, so shut him up? Did he have the ability to do that?
Of course.
Absolutely. But what did he do? He says, look, I can't just spoon feed you. I made it easy because you don't have to work to get this tax money, but I want to see if you trust me enough to actually do it. Now, I want y'all to think. You probably read, when we read that right now, you probably thought, okay, wow, that's crazy, put the money in the fish's mouth. But I want you to put your mind in, who is this, Peter? Right? I want you to pretend like you're Peter for a second. Now, the Lord's telling you, hey, man, I want you to go to the sea. I want you to go fishing, and then when you're going to pull a fish up, and there's going to be money in that fish's mouth, Peter's probably looking at him like, okay, like for real, you want me to do that?
Right.
Like that's for real. Oh, okay, I'll go do it. He's proving Peter right there. Let me see if you trust me. Because don't that sound foolish?
Yeah.
Think about, we read that. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, I'm go to the sea. You know, let me go fish. Man, that sound foolish. If you're being honest with yourself,
He's probably like, oh shoot, man, I thought you was joking. I thought you was
man,
playing a joke on me.
Imagine what was going through Peter's mind as he's walking to the sea or going to the sea, however he got there. All right, let me go get my fish nets, and I'm gonna find some money in the fish's mouth. Think about that, you know. Crazy. But the Lord was what? Proving him, you know. Same thing with you right now. You all the different trials and tribulations may be going through, or seems like things just don't seem to be going right for you right now. Guess what the Lord's doing? Proving you. What's your breaking point? Are you going to start murmuring against them? You know, are you going to start following after your own lust? What are you going to say, officer?
I was just going to say, imagine, okay, Christ is saying this to Peter, and somebody's overhearing their conversation.
Maybe.
And they're probably, but just imagine Peter's like, everybody going to be looking at me like he really is about to go do this.
Maybe there were people around looking like, is he really going to do this?
Is he going to do it?
Following.
Right. So he has to deal with that pressure too, if he going to listen to the Lord or not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So the Lord's proving them. The Lord's proving them, just like the Lord's proving you right now. All right. He's trying to see, what's your breaking point? When are you going to start murmuring? You know, when are you going to start following after your own lust? You know, and I'm going to do it my way because this ain't working fast enough for me. You know, let's go to Genesis 22. And we're going to read verses 2 and 3. We're going to bounce around a little bit.
Genesis chapter 22 and verse 2. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest.
So the Lord's telling Abraham, I want you to take your son, whom you love, Isaac,
and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering.
And I want you to kill that boy for me. You're going to use your boy as an offering, not a lamb, not anything else. I want you to take your son and offer him up for me.
Upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass.
Did he wait? He said Abraham rose up early in the morning. Now I want you guys to think about this. Damn. A lot of you have a hard time spanking your children. Now after a while, he's like, look, they bad, I'm going to get them. But the first time, I remember the first time I spanked my son, I was like, after I spanked him or whatever, and I'll go another, I'm like, damn, I can't believe I did that. Like, man, did I really have to? I didn't want to. You know, but Abraham was like, oh, okay, we rising up early. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice my son. It is what it is. All right, read on.
And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him. And
he's like, okay, look, I'm going to go do this. You know what I mean? It is the Lord told me I got to sacrifice my son. Now, some of us would have been like Jonah and fled somewhere else. Now, I ain't killing my only son. But Abraham was like, okay, Lord told me to do it. It is what it is. Now, keep in mind, this is one of those long, drawn-out tortures right here because he's got to get all the material lined up. He's got to get his son. Meanwhile, as you're going to see, he's going to be walking with his son and everything else, thinking, I got to kill my son, you know. And Isaac is going to be thinking the same thing. Watch this. Let's drop down to verse 6 through 13.
Verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together.
So now he tells the men to stay back, and he got Isaac. Now he's taking him up where he's going to sacrifice him at. Come on.
And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?
So Isaac's seen this before. He doesn't see many sacrifices, but he's like, okay, look, I see you got everything here, but the one thing missing is the actual sacrifice. Pop, what's going on? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, like, Dad, you all right? You good?
All right, read on.
Verse 8. And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering.
He says the Lord will find a lamb for a burnt offering. So he didn't tell him what's going on.
So they went both of them together.
So he didn't say, son, you're the lamb. He just said the Lord's going to provide one. All right, come on.
And they came to the place which God had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac.
Did what?
And
don't read that slowly. He laid the wood down and did what?
Laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
Now I want y'all to think about that for a second, because you'll read that and just read through it. Okay, bound Isaac and laid him on the altar. Isaac is smart enough and old enough to know, okay, wait a minute. Now, I didn't seen these type of sacrifices before. I don't see no lamb. Okay, Dad, why you grabbing me? Dad, why you tying me up? Dad, what are you doing here? This is what you got to imagine. This is what Isaac is saying to his pop. Pop, what are you doing, man? You ready to kill me, man? What? So much so that he had to bound him up, tie him down. All right, so imagine the torture that Isaac was like, Dad, I heard you said you're going to bring a lamb, but I don't see it. You tie me up. You get ready to kill me. So imagine what Isaac is thinking. All right, read on.
Verse 10. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son.
So he took the knife. He was getting ready to kill his son.
And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham.
He had to yell Abraham twice. Abraham, Abraham, hold up. Hold up, man. You really gonna do this thing? Hold up, man. Hold up. Read on.
And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God.
So he said, okay, now I know, because you was really going to kill your son because the Lord told you to. How many of you guys would go through with that? Or is that your breaking point? Now, the Lord isn't asking us to offer up our children, but maybe you go through a tough time, you know. Maybe you've been in the truth for a few years and the peer pressure of your family, none of them not talking to you no more, and you miss that, just like we missed the meat and the fish and everything we had in Egypt. And, you know, I miss going to Thanksgiving. I miss Christmas. And that's your breaking point. That's why the Lord's putting you through this to what? To prove you, you know, to see if you are worthy of the kingdom. And a lot of our people, as we've seen, have fell short because the pressures of this world, the joy of this world, the love of the world, the lust of this world was too much for them. They couldn't give it up. And they failed the test. Read on.
Seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me.
So your greatest treasure, your greatest gift, your greatest joy, you were willing to sacrifice that for me. Are you willing to sacrifice your greatest gift, your greatest joy, your greatest treasure, whatever it is? Are you willing to sacrifice that for the Lord in this world? You know, the Lord's going to prove you. Read on. Did we finish that? Verse 13. Just finish verse 13.
No, we finished 12. You want 13 also?
Yes.
Verse 13. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, and behind him a ram caught in a thicket by the horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. So
now, imagine that ride home with Isaac and his father. Dad, you was going to kill, imagine that ride home. But now, guess what this is? This is the right example of how to be in the wilderness versus the wrong example. In the wilderness, we were what? Murmuring, going against Moses, going against God, rebelling, right? And at the end of the day, the Lord still took care of their needs. He fed them food, fed them meat, and bread, right? Everything. Was that enough? No, because guess what? When you continue to read the history, we kept what? Murmuring, falling into idolatry, you name it. So much so that None of them made it into the kingdom. Or made it over, right? To the promised land. Now, here's the same thing with Abraham. As he was being proven, he could have murmured against God. You know how hard it was for me to have Isaac. Now you want me to kill him? I'm an old man. I can't have another kid. This ain't right. He didn't do none of that. He never murmured. He never said nothing. He was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And somehow, some way, the Lord going to make a way, for me to where I don't have to do this. But I'm going to go every step of the way. Even if I have to kill him and then the Lord bring him back to life or so, I don't know. But I'm going to do what the Lord told me to do. Abraham didn't have a breaking point. You know what I'm saying? And you, in this truth, you can't have a breaking point. You got to stay steadfast, and whatever the test is the Lord put in front of you, you have to be man enough or woman enough to face that and pass that test, because you are being proven right now. All right?
And officer, that's a heavy point, because the Lord called Abraham friend. And like we always read in Sirach 6 and 7, when thou gettest a friend, prove him first.
Great point.
And that's what the Lord is doing with us.
Great point. Let's go to Hebrews 11. Hebrews 11. And I want verses 17 and 18.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 17. By faith.
By what?
By faith.
See, Abraham had faith.
By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac.
So by faith, he offered up Isaac like he was told to do, but he had faith. Just like you. You're going through, your trials and tribulations. You're going through the tough time that you may have already had in the truth, and another one's coming because it ain't going to be the last one. You're always going to have tough times in this truth until the Lord returns. It's just the way it is. But you got to have faith that the Lord going to have something for you to get you through that. Don't murmur. Don't backbite. Don't fall into the hands of something else. Stay steadfast. Endure whatever you're going through, because you're being proven. Come on.
And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son.
So he offered up his son, but he knew that the Lord made him a promise. We're going to get into that in a minute. Come on.
Of whom it was said, that in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
So he knew that, there's no way Isaac is going to die, because the Lord made me a promise that through Isaac, he will be blessed. So how am I going to kill? How is the Lord going to allow me to kill him? He knew by faith that he was not going to have to kill Isaac, but he was going to go through the process until the Lord stopped him. He didn't know how he was going to make it through. He didn't know how his son was going to be saved, but he knew that eventually his son was going to be saved and not be killed. It's the same mindset we got to have. You have a heavy trial in front of you. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you lost a wife through the truth. Maybe you lost a husband through the truth. Maybe you had children that said, you know what, they got older. I'm not following none of this. Whatever it is, you got to have enough faith that the Lord is going to see you through it. Don't let that trial take you under and be like, you know what, this is too much for me. I can't take it. I can't handle it. I'm out. I'm going back into the world or whatever. Now, the people who say that don't actually say, hey, I'm going back into the world. They're the ones who say, okay, I left IUIC, I'm doing this, but I'm still in the truth, though. Am I gathering like I'm commanded to do on the Sabbath day? No, I gather with people online now. Okay, what about the high holy days? I did it at my house. What about convocation? So you're not keeping the commandments, but I'm still in the truth, though. It's that same type, and then slowly but surely, you start getting worse and worse and worse. So the next thing you know, you fully back in the world. Your conversation, your behavior, everything. You can't tell the difference between you and somebody else, right? Because it got too much for them. But you got to have enough faith that the Lord will see you through whatever he puts in front of you, whatever's in front of you. The Lord will see you through. You got to be able to see that. All right. Abraham had faith. We got to have that same faith. Now, here's the thing. We don't have to have as much faith as Abraham, because he's not asking us to offer up our children. It's other things. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's easy, the trials we go through, but it's easier than what our forefathers had to go through. All right. Let's go to Genesis 21. And I want verse 12.
Genesis chapter 21 and verse 12. And God said unto Abraham.
Now, remember, we were reading Genesis 22 earlier, so this is just a chapter before, right? This is before we had to sacrifice Isaac. But this is why Abraham had faith. Watch this.
Let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, in all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice. For in Isaac.
For in who?
For in Isaac.
For in Isaac, your son Isaac.
Shall thy seed be called.
That promise is going to Isaac. So this is right before the Lord told him to sacrifice Isaac. So he's like, wait a minute. The Lord has never, failed me yet. So he told me to do this. All right, I'm going to do it somehow, some way. I know that the Lord is going to see me through this. How did he know that? Let's go to chapter 22 real quick. Let's go to verse 8.
Genesis 22, verse 8. And Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together.
So he says, okay, I know in my mind I'm going to go through the motions and slay him if that's what I have to do. But I know, just like he told Isaac, God will provide a lamb for us. I don't know how. I don't know what's going to happen. How did he know that? Well, just before that, the Lord told him what? In Isaac shall your seed be called. All right. Let's go to Mark chapter 4. Matter of fact, let's go to, here's one thing that Abraham knew that we got to know. Let's go to Matthew 28 real quick. Then we're going to go to Mark. Matthew 28, and I want the last verse real quick.
Matthew chapter 28 and verse 20.
Yes.
Verse 20. Teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you.
So everything the Lord have commanded us, we have to observe, we have to do, right?
And lo, I am with you always.
See, the Lord is what?
I am with you always.
So the Lord said he is with us always.
Even unto the end of the world.
Even unto the end of the world. So no matter what you're going through, Christ is saying, look, I'm right there with you. Even unto the end of the world. So he's right there. You may not see him, and whatever you're going through, whatever trial you're going through, whatever it is that's plaguing you, or whatever it is, your health, whatever it is that's plaguing your finances, the Lord is saying, I'm with you always. I'm right there, right? I'm right there with you. All right. Let's go back to, let's see.
You said Mark.
Yeah, I want to go to Mark. Let's go to Mark chapter 4 and verses 36 through 41. Mark 4, 36 through 31. So don't lose faith, Israel. Don't get discouraged and think like, man, I'm going through this. This is heavy. I don't know how I'm going to see it through. The Lord said he's what? He's with you always. He's right there. He's right there. He ain't going to let you fail. But just like our forefathers had to wait till morning to get the manna, you may have to wait till your morning to get whatever it is that you need to get you through that. So that means there's going to be a period of time where you're going to be uncomfortable. There's going to be a period of time where it's like, man, this feels heavy. But guess what? You can't give in. That can't be a breaking point. You've got to endure that. All right. Mark 4, 36 through 41.
Mark chapter 4, verse 36. And when they had sent away the multitude, they took him even as he was in the ship. And there were also...
So now after the multitude's gone, this is another instance. The multitude's gone, so now Christ's disciples, they go into the ship now because they got to cross over, all right?
And there were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full.
So I don't know if you guys ever been on a boat before, right? I've been deep sea fishing. I've also been on cruises, right? And on a cruise ship, they're big. I haven't never been in a storm on a cruise ship. But even a cruise ship will rock like that. And for some people, you get motion sickness, whatever. And that's just a little small rocking, right? You ever been on a boat or cruise or something like that? Or
Yeah, we went deep sea fishing. We had a rogue wave hit us.
Now, that's a difference. Now, that's why I said I've done both. Now, when you go deep sea fishing, you're on a smaller boat. And that boat gets to rocking. Even without a storm. A deep sea fishing boat, if you go out there deep enough, that gets to rocking, and that'll have you like, oh, shoot, Now, that's nothing, what I'm saying? Right. This one right here, this storm was so bad that it said water was going onto the boat. Read it again.
Verse 37. And there arose a great storm of wind, and the waves beat into the ship, so that it was now full.
So now this, on the ship, now there's so much water on there, it's starting to fill up a little bit. All right, come on.
And he was in the hinder part of the ship, asleep on a pillow. And
now Christ, he was down below the ship, whatever, laying down, getting him some rest. Because this is even. This is at nighttime right here. So he's getting some rest. He's got a pillow. He's comfortable.
And they awake him and say unto him, Master, carest thou not that we perish?
So the disciples, they run into Christ and say, hey, man, we getting ready to die. Don't you care? You sleep. You know what I'm saying? But guess what Christ used that storm as? Yes, he was proving them. But guess what? You know how you have a newborn baby, right? Or a couple of months or whatever. You put them in a swing and you rock them and it soothes them. Man, Christ was using that storm to soothe him. Like, oh, man, this boat's rocking. This is nice, good sleep right here. I've been dealing with people all day long. Let me get some rest, right? So look what Christ said when they woke him up.
Verse 39. And he arose and rebuked the wind and said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm.
So he's like, man, y'all wait, don't y'all know? Look, man, I control the sea, I control the wind, I control everything. Y'all wasn't gonna die. Y'all seen me do all type of miracles, but just that fast they lost faith. And so look what Christ say to them.
Verse 40. And he said unto them, why are ye so fearful?
Why y'all so scared? Y'all seen me raise the dead. Y'all seen me do all kind of stuff, and y'all scared of a little storm?
How is it that ye have no faith?
How is it that you have no faith? You've been following me all this time. Okay, now that was a physical storm, but guess what? You go through storms too in your life. And then when you going through the storm, you're like, man, I don't know what, Lord, what you gonna do? You gonna let this take me down? What you gonna do with the storm? That storm could be you lost your job, could be, your finances, could be family, could be friends, whatever. And then the Lord is like, peace be still in your life. And then he says, well, you lost faith. You knew I had this in control this whole time. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I had it in control this whole time. Why'd you lose faith? I don't get it. You seen what I'm capable of. You read what I'm capable of. All right? Now watch this.
Verse 41. And they feared exceedingly and said one to another, what manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?
So I want y'all to think about that. The same disciples are like, like the sea, the wind, they obeys his voice. Like he said, peace be still. He said, peace be still. And the wind, everything stopped like that. And guess what? Even after seeing that, look how many marvelous miracles Christ did. And it just seems shortly after people lost faith again. Just that fast. Go ahead. You want to say something?
No. I was just nodding my head like that. Is very true.
I mean, marvelous signs, marvelous wonders. And look, here's the thing. We never seen any of these things, but yet we believe and we're here right now, So imagine if we seen those things, we really would be on fire like, man. You know what I'm saying? But even back then, you see, they lost faith. Just that fast, lost faith. But the Lord controls every storm that's in your life. Every trial, every tribulation, whatever it is you're going through, he can get you out of it like this. But what have you learned if you did that? What have you proven to yourself? I can look back at the years I've been in the truth and I look at all the different trials and things that I survived and be like, look, I'm still here. And all praises to the Most High that he got me through it. And I pray that I continue to battle and fight every trial to come my way until he returns. Look what you've been through since you've been in the truth. Things that probably that you look back like, man, I'm glad that didn't take me out, And why is it? Why did you stick around? Is because you've had enough faith up until this point to know that the Lord is in control of every storm that goes on in your life. At any point, he can say, peace be still, and it'll be still. It'll be peace. But you got to go through some of that storm. Something you want to say, officer?
Just it's like parents or a father with his child. You watch your son or watch your daughter doing stuff as they get older. And the moms most of the time wants to be like, go and stop him or save him from and the dad's more like, no.
You gotta learn.
Just let him. He'll be
all
right.
His head a little
yeah,
bit.
he'll be all right. He gonna learn. But it's to prove him, and then then when you save him, you like, look, son, I've been here the whole time. And then your child has mad faith in you growing up because they know that you're there. You know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
Same thing.
Exactly. Let's go to Ezekiel 20, and then we're going to read verses 33 through 38.
Ezekiel chapter 20 and verse 33. As I live, saith the Lord, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered.
So we know this is a future prophecy, right? But see, here's the thing. How many times have the Lord done this? Already.
Multiple.
Right? He brought us out of Egypt, all the different captivities that we were in, right? Guess what? Everything that he's saying, this is a future prophecy, but it's also happening on a smaller scale right now. We just look at, he's going to do this, but I'm going to show you what's happening on a smaller scale. It's going to make sense in a second. Watch this. Keep reading.
With a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
So he said, I'm going to take you from all these different countries, right? This is how I'm going to take you out. Now, the reason why I said on a smaller scale, because when this happens, this is going to be the final time, right? But watch what's happening right now. The same thing that he's talking about in this right here is happening right now. Watch this.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith the Lord God.
So why is he putting us through this wilderness? Because remember, he's throwing a hint at you. Remember how I proved your forefathers in the wilderness, how they murmured and how they backbite, how they fell into their own lust. He said, I'm going to prove you just like them, and I'm going to see, have you learned from their mistakes? Or if you didn't. Now, this is why I say this is what's happening today, too, as well. Watch this.
Verse 37, and I will cause you to pass under the rod.
And that rod, we getting beat right now in America. You know where we're at right now. Everything the same thing, that wilderness, we're getting beat. It's just in a different form right now. Come on.
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from.
Before you get that reward, what must I do?
And I will purge out from among you the rebels,
those that rebel, those that fall into sin, those that murmur, those that can't endure their trials and tribulations, because when it's time for them to be proven, they can't handle it. I'm going to do what?
And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
That's how you can have people that was in the truth with us, high-ranking positions to lower positions, whatever. And once the fire came to them, what happened? They got purged out. Now you got some talking about, sunrise, Sabbath. You can eat whatever you want on the Passover. In fact, you don't even have to keep the high holy days no more. Multiple wives. Everything that they taught has been reversed now by what they're teaching now. Right? How does that happen? Because they went through certain trials and tribulations, certain storms. They lost faith, lost patience, and guess what? They got purged out. So the Lord ain't gonna just purge everybody out in the end. He's purging them right now as he go. Piece by piece. No, you're not even worthy to make it to the next step. So I used you for a few years now. You going to get out the way. Don't let that be you.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Don't let that be you. Don't get purged out before the major purge. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get purged out anyway. But don't get purged out now. All right? Read on. I want to go all the way to 38.
Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. And I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn. And they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord.
So you have a chance to make it to the promised land, but if you get purged out now, you're done. Imagine what that judgment is going to be like when you're like, I had it. I was on the right track. But Satan desired me, and I let him in. You know what I'm saying? Because you lost faith, lost patience. And when it's come time to prove to see if you was really with this or not, you couldn't stand up. You couldn't man up, or you couldn't woman up. All right, don't let that be you, because the Lord, the whole time you're in this truth right now, you're just one big proving stage. This is just one big, how we're supposed to be married to Christ. This is just one big proving process right here. One big betrothal, if you will. Let me see if you're really serious. You know what I'm saying? That's all this is. I'm proving you. So before I say I do fully to you and we in the kingdom, I got to make sure that you really with me. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that, you don't fall out during this proving stage. All right? Let's go to Isaiah 32. And I want verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech.
Now, why did I go to there? Why did I go to the women? All right, let me just, and this ain't to get on the women for a second. This is just, I want to let the women know, because I'll use my wife, for instance. For my wife, everything's got to be perfect. Say we want to watch a movie at the house. She got to have a pillow here. She got to have a blanket. It can't be too hot, too cold. Everything's got to be perfect for her to enjoy a movie. Me, I'm on the couch. I'm like this, put the movie on. If I'll grab something if I need it, So a lot of our sisters in this world, they want things to be perfect for them right now. I got to have this house. I got to have this car. And I'm not saying all you sisters are like that, but sometimes you can fall into those things where, I want this new house. I want this new car. You see your man's working his butt off. Okay, well, what can you do to get that? Let's get something better. But that's not, your job to be too comfortable in this world right now. This is the wilderness that we're in. This is not the kingdom that's going to last forever. We want this place to be destroyed. So it's not to say you can't have nice things and you can't work for better things, but don't let that be your sole purpose in life. Don't get comfortable. All right? Read it again.
Isaiah chapter 32, verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech.
So how do you know, sisters? Now, I'm going to help you out. I'm not going to just read that to you. I'm going to help you out. How do you know if you're a sister at ease? Okay, I'm going to give you the answer to that, all right? I want you to think. Every man in this truth, you know, now this is before COVID-19, right? But I'm saying this is what's required of them. Every man has to take weekly tests, you know, flyer missions, going to camp, you know, different calls throughout the week, Camp 101, Men of Valor. Almost every day, sisters, you see your husbands doing something in this truth. Almost every day there's something lined up for them, right? That's what they're doing to put their brick in to bring forth this truth. Now, how do you know if you're a woman at ease? I want you sisters to think, what am I doing to earn my spot in the kingdom? If the only thing you're doing is logging onto a class on the Sabbath day and watching a bishop or hear or something like that, you're a woman that's in ease, right? If all you're doing is, oh, I cooked dinner for my husband, I did, yeah, you're supposed to do that. I kept the house clean. Yeah, you're supposed to do that. But now, where's that balance at of what you're doing in the truth to spread this gospel as well? And you may think, well, what can I do? I can't do a flyer mission, but here's something that every sister can do. Get Malachi 3:16 real quick. Every sister can do this. Every sister can do this.
Malachi chapter 3, verse 16. Then they that feared the Lord.
So if you're a sister that and you fear the Lord, like you say you do, right?
Spake often one to another.
Just to your clique.
One to another.
Just the friends that you're close with.
Spake often one to another.
So the Lord's saying that if you fear him, you're going to speak often one to another. So here's something every sister can do. We're all on Telegram. I'm going to call every sister on Telegram at least once a week. At least once a week. That's something every sister can do. That's not hard to do, right? Just a phone call. And it's a commandment. So do you actively call every sister once a week, or you just call the one sister that you're close with or the two that you like in your clique? Which there should be no cliques. But do you call every sister? That's something that you can do. That's a commandment. That's not a commandment for just, it doesn't say, does it say just for the men?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Mine don't say that either. It says that's what those do that fear the Lord, right? So every sister can be calling every sister at least once a week. How you doing, sis? What you cooking today? What you got going on? Maybe I can learn something from you. Hey, you know, I read the scripture. What you think about this? I like this. Whatever. You know, I'm trying to learn how to sew this, that, or that. You know how to, anything, right? And guess what? After you speak to somebody long enough, you'll develop a friendship, a real bond. You'll get closer. So those sisters that you're not close with, it's because you're not investing any of your me time into them, right? Invest some of your time into them and get closer. So every sister can do that. Is that it on that?
No, sir. Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord.
You see that? You'll be written in that book of remembrance. Look what you're doing. You're speaking to your sisters often. That's something every sister can do. Another thing every sister can do. Can you go on a flyer mission? No, you can't, right? But guess what you can do? You could take 10 minutes out of your day. Because we already know you're on Facebook and social media. We know you're checking that, most of you. You can take 10 minutes and say, you know what? I like IUIC, let's say, North Carolina, or whatever your camp is that you like to really like their videos. And simply find a couple of their videos on YouTube and share it. Hit the share button. Comment on it. Send it out there. 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes of finding 3 or 4 videos a day that you like and then sending it out on social media. You could do that. Then guess what? That's a flyer mission for you, right? You know, you sent it out to all the friends that you have, they still have on your Facebook and different things like that that are not in the truth. They can see that. And when you bombard them with enough of it, maybe they might click on it. That's your flyer mission that you can do, you know. So there's things that you sisters can be doing every day, every week to solidify your spot in the kingdom, because guess what? Don't get comfortable. It says rise up. Let's go back to where we was at, Isaiah 32 and 9.
Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters.
Don't be careless and think that, oh, my husband's an officer of this or a soldier of that or blah, blah, blah. So he's good, so therefore I'm good. You're not good. You're not. The only time you're good is when you do enough works individually and the Lord says you're good, right? But you're not going to make it in off the works of your husband. So rise up what?
Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech.
Give ear unto his speech. All right, come on.
Many days and years shall be troubled, ye careless women.
Shall ye be troubled?
Excuse me. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You can finish your last part.
No, I was going to another verse.
Okay, so you sisters, you got to make sure that you're putting your brick in too, and there's ways in which you can do that. Go to Ezekiel 14:14. Here's why you got to do that. Don't get comfortable, sisters, in this kingdom right now, and start thinking because I got this nice big house, I got this nice car, now I'm finally living, now I'm good. You can't think that way. Ezekiel 14:14, real quick.
Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 14. Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job.
Your husband's not Noah. Your husband's not Daniel. And he's not Job. I don't care how mighty he is right now. You know, your husband's not them. All right?
Were in it, they should deliver but their own souls.
So these men who were great men who have books or chapters written about them in the Bible, they couldn't deliver their family. They couldn't deliver their children. They could only deliver what?
They should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness.
By whose righteousness?
By their righteousness.
They can only deliver their souls by their righteousness, by keeping of the law, statutes, and commandments. Says who?
Saith the Lord God.
So your husband can't help you. So your husband can't save you. No matter how much work your husband is doing, it has nothing to do with your salvation. You have to put work in. So you sisters, don't be at ease right now. Now's the time for you sisters to find ways for you to put your foot on the gas. How can you turn it up a notch? All right? Let's go to Philippians 4. Let's go to Philippians 4, and I want verse 11.
The book of Philippians, chapter 4, and verse 11. Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned in whatsoever state I am wherewith to be content.
To be what?
To be content.
Sometimes you just got to be content with where you at. That's for the sisters and that's for the men. You know, does that mean that you're not striving for better? Sure, you're always going to strive for better, right? But sometimes you just have to look around and say, you know what? This house may be small, or this apartment may be small, or maybe I'm not on the side of town I want to be on. Maybe my yard ain't built up and I don't have the trees and the land. Whatever it is that goes through your mind because you got too much time on your hand, right? Not just the sisters, but the men too. Whatever that is, whatever state you're in, sometimes you just got to look and be like, you know what? I got to be content with this. You know, because I can look at what I have and I know for a fact that there's somebody doing worse than you in the truth. You know what I'm saying? There's somebody, when I say doing worse, they may not have as many nice things as you may have. Not that they're doing worse, you know, but they may have a smaller place. There's somebody that have a smaller place than you. Somebody have an older car than you. Somebody has something that ain't right, you know. And here's the one thing that we don't look at is maybe somebody has a better car than you, a better house than you, bigger, whatever you want to call it, but you're in good health. They may have bad back, bad knees, bad whatever, and every day they're in pain. Now, they just mask it, they smile and shalom and everything else, and they're not complaining, but you don't know what that person is going through, you know? So sometimes you got to just look and be like, you know what? Yes, Lord, I would love for you to bless me with a bigger house because family's growing or this or that or on the better side of town where there's not crime. You can say those things, but sometimes you have to say, you know, Lord, even if you don't give that to me, I'm content with this because I know that whether this house or the next car or the next job or whatever is all going to be burnt up when you return. So this is all just temporary stuff. So sometimes you just got to be content. I know it sounds a lot easier than what it is, but sometimes it's just what it is. You just got to be content with some of the things that you got, you know. And I believe when you content and you like, you know, really thankful for what the Lord given you, that's when he gives you an increase. You know, that's when he says, okay, you know what? I see that you content. I got you now. All right. So find a way to be content. Now let's go to Sirach 29. And I want 21 through 23.
The book of Sirach, chapter 29, verse 21. The chief thing for life is water.
So the main things that you need in life, you know, this is what you need to survive with.
And bread
So you need water. No, let's take it from the top. The chief things for life.
The chief thing for life is water.
So we all have to have water. Now, some of us would rather have Pepsi or Coke or lemonade or sweet tea, but the Lord's saying you don't need that. Now, you may get it at some point, but what you really need is just what?
Water.
Water. And that water has two meanings. You need water for your physical body, and you also need water, which is the word of God, for the spiritual body. So that's the chief things in life. Both waters right there. Come on.
And bread.
And bread. Now, guess what? You need bread to eat, right? We had manna in the wilderness, so right now you have, whatever you got, the salads and pastas and whatever you got for today on a Sabbath day, right?
Right.
But guess what? Can you just live off of physical bread alone?
Nope.
No. God says you also have to live off of every word of God. So now we got both breads covered. You got both water covered, and you got both breads covered. All right, come on.
And clothing. And a house.
And you have clothing, right? We need physical clothing to put on, right? I could be precepting this up for you, but just in interest of time, I'm giving them the precept.
Yeah, you are. You are right now. You are.
But,
in my head, I'm like, boop, boop, boop.
So clothing, right? So guess what? You got to have physical clothes to put on your body, right? Now I'll open this up to those online, all right?
There you
now,
go.
what's the clothing you need spiritually? What you need spiritually? Real quick, since the officer, he's trying to bait me into sidebar from my class. So fine, what's the clothing that you need?
Brother Chris?
Yes, go ahead, Brother Chris.
Clothe yourself with righteousness?
Yes, but there's something else I'm looking for. Yeah, you're right, but there's something else I'm looking for. What's the clothing we need? Come on, it's not that hard, people. It really isn't. It really isn't. The clothing that you need.
Christ? Oh, my bad.
Somebody else. The clothing that we need. We need to be clothed with righteousness. That's correct. What we need. I think you're already there, huh, officer?
Yes, sir.
Gideon, go ahead, Soldier Gideon.
Oh, I was going to say Ephesians 6 and 12, but I believe Brother Chris already said it.
Go ahead. No, nobody said it. Go ahead, officer.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 13.
This is what I'm talking about right here. This is the clothing that you need.
Wherefore, take unto thee the whole armor of God, that ye may withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand.
I'll go before that so we see what that clothing is.
Verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities and powers, and against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, that's what you wanted?
Yes, so we need to put on the whole armor of God, right? So we need to put on. That's what you need to be clothed with, all right? So you can stand against the walls of, the spiritual wickedness that we are facing every day. All right?
Sirach, chapter 29 and verse 21. The chief thing for life is water and bread and clothing and an house to cover shame.
And we need that house to cover shame. We need that protection. And guess what that is? That protection. The Lord is our refuge. All right? You find that in Psalms. I think it's 46. Psalms 132. Let's see that. Let me see.
Yeah,
Psalms 132, I think. Let me just check. Let me make sure. Because I wasn't going to precept that up right now, but the officer is.
Hey, I wasn't tripping on this one.
Oh, wait, no, it's not that.
70.
Or it might be 96.
It's not 91, is it?
Yes, verse 2.
The book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 2. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress.
Which is, if you look up refuge, it's a house, a place of safety. Fortress, same thing.
My God, in him will I trust.
So that's the house that you need to have right there, right? So to cover shame and also the Lord to cover you. All right? So,
Sirach.
Yes, so let's read it all together real quick.
Sirach, chapter 29, verse 21. The chief thing for life is water and
So
bread.
we got the water. We both got the water, right?
And bread.
So we got both meanings of bread.
And clothing and an house to cover shame.
So we got the double meaning behind both those things, all those things right there. All right. So that's the chief things in life. And if you got those things, right, nowhere in there did it say you had to have a 3-story house, 2-car garage, and 3 cars. It never said that. It said these are the chief things in life. So if you have that, you got to be content with it. Anything more than that is more than what the Lord said you need. All right. I know that's hard to look at it that way, but that's just a fact. Anything more than those things right there is more than what the Lord said you need. So if you have that, the Lord have blessed you tremendously. All right. Let's go to Micah 2:10. Something you want to say, officer?
No, you want to just verse 21? Or you wanted to read down for Surah?
Did you go to 23 or no?
No, sir.
Oh, you didn't go to 23?
No, sir.
Oh.
Verse 22. Better is the life of a poor man in a mean cottage than delicate fare in another man's house. Be it, that was verse 22.
Yes, go ahead.
Verse 23. Be it little or much.
So if you have a little bit or you have a lot,
hold thee contented.
Be contented with it.
That thou hear not the reproach of thy house.
So you hear not the reproach of your house. So sisters, that's another thing too. If your husband's working hard and he's trying to set you up, but you feel that you should have more or better, don't make it hell for him in that house. Well, if you was doing this, we could have this or that. Or you got to be contented. Sisters and men, you got to be content with what you got. Again, that doesn't mean you can't strive for better, but have that proper balance. Encourage the person instead of making them feel bad. I wish you had this, or I wish you were doing that, or whatever it is. Be content together. Work with each other. Understand this is just temporary. What you got.
Right.
Don't let this be your heaven right now. Right. You understand? This is just what I need. This is just. See, the Lord could have, when he made the manna and when he gave him quail, meat to eat, he could have made that one day steak. The next day I'm going to have lamb. The next day he could have had a full menu for you, but he gave you what? What we needed to get by. So guess what? In this time that we're living in, the Lord's given us what we need to get by. And if you trust in that, you have faith in him, guess what? Once we do get by, get the kingdom, now you're going to have everything you ever dreamed of or imagined. Once you get to the kingdom. But right now you have to look at it as my life, what I'm living is what I need to get by, to get to the kingdom. Anything more than that is a blessing, so be content.
Exactly.
Now, let's go to Mike. We finished that, right?
Yes, we finished Surah.
Okay, let's go to Micah now.
Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest.
You have to understand, this is not your rest. When we were in the wilderness, that wasn't our rest. That was a proving stage to get to our rest. And they failed miserably. Don't you fail miserably. This is not your rest. You have to understand that. So meaning when you get rest, right? Now, when you go to sleep at night or take your nap, whatever, that's when you want to have the pillow a certain way, the blanket, the certain side of the bed you like to lay on. Yes, that's when you get your rest, that's when you're doing that. So the Lord is saying what? Don't be too comfortable in the situation you're in the world you're in, the lifestyle you live in. Don't get too comfortable because this is not your rest. It's not designed for you to be so comfortable where you fall asleep and you can get your rest and all that type of stuff. It's not designed for that right now. Right. So you're not at rest right now. So if you're not at rest, you should be what? Working. All right? Read it again.
Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest.
It's not your rest.
Because it is polluted.
This world is polluted. This world is an abominable world. There's every abominable thing is right in this world, right? Everything in this world is opposite or contrary to what we believe and what we're supposed to be doing as far as keeping the commandments, right? So this world is polluted. Come on.
It shall destroy you.
This world will destroy you if you get too comfortable and you're at ease.
Even with a sore destruction.
And it's going to be a sore destruction if you get purged out during this proven process because you're at ease in this world and you fail the proven process. All right.
And also that kind of reminded me the other day. I fell asleep on the couch. I was doing some work on the laptop. I fell asleep. I just kept waking up like. Oh shoot, I'm about to be late for work. I couldn't get comfortable. When you have it in the back of your mind, you always got to do something. You can't be comfortable. But when you feel that this is your rest, like you're saying, it's going to destroy you because you're going to sleep right through what you need to be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go to Exodus 24, 1 through 8.
Exodus chapter 24 and verse 1. And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord, and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord had said will we do.
So listen, the reason why we're in the wilderness now, the reason why we're in the position that we're in now, the reason why you're going through the trials and tribulations that you're going through now is because the Lord said, look, this is the way, walk in it. And we said, you know what? Everything you said, we will do. Did we do it? No, we didn't. That's why we're in the condition that we are in right now. Watch this. Read.
And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars, according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings, and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood, and put it into basins, and half the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, and read in the audience of the people. And they said,
so he took the book of the covenant, he took the Bible, and said, look, and read, which was, he took all the laws that the Lord gave him, and the law, statutes, and commandments, and he read to them, to the whole audience, all Israel.
And they said, all that the Lord had said,
everything that you said,
will we do.
We will do.
And be obedient.
And we'll be obedient.
And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people.
So he sprinkled the blood on the people, on all of us. All right.
And said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord had made with you concerning all these words.
So we made a blood promise, a blood covenant to keep the commandments. Did we keep it? No, we didn't. And anytime you go against your promise or your word, or you go against the laws of God, there must be some punishment. That's why we're in the position that we're in right now, because we made this blood covenant and we didn't keep our end of the deal. All right. So those trials and tribulations you're going through, that's just what it is. You know, you did not keep your end of the deal. So you got to be proven again. Like, hey, I told you once, you didn't do it. I'm giving you a second chance. We're living a second chance. Right. So don't fall out. Don't get purged out now. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 8. Verse 11.
Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily.
Because, during that time we rebelled against God, it wasn't speedily that we got, corrected. Even in today's time, you might be slipping and falling and back, not necessarily falling out of the truth, but you're taking your foot off the gas, you're coasting, you're comfortable, you're at ease. And the Lord is saying, because sentence isn't executed speedily, come on.
Therefore, the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil.
So because the Lord don't correct you instantly every time, sometimes you get comfortable and, all right, he just have to get you later, because when you sin, you don't instantly just get punished. Now, some do. You look at the man that picked up sticks, right? He got instantly, punished, but that doesn't always happen to us.
And his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him.
So, read that again.
Yet surely I know that it shall be well.
I want the top of the 12.
Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged.
So you can't look at it like, man, this person's in sin. They seem like they never get in trouble. They blessed, they good, they this, they that. You can't look at it like that, because guess what? The Lord don't punish you instantly every time.
Yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, which fear before him.
But if you hold on and you keep, the commandments and do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be all right. All right? You're going to be all right. Let's go to Isaiah 30 and 20.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction.
Hold on, let me get there. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. So what the officer's going over is really heavy right now, because we got to understand this walk that we're in, where it's like he said, it's one big proving stage. So we have to be proving ourselves every day. The book of Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 20
and 21, please.
Yes, sir. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity.
So yes, right now we do have the bread of adversity. You know, we do have troubles and stuff that's going to be upon us. But guess what? The theme of this that you guys should be getting from this is what? It's just the Lord proving me. This is just a proven stage right now. And I have to prove to myself and to him that I'm worthy of the reward that he has lined up for me. So he gives us the bread of adversity. Come on.
And the water of affliction.
And affliction. Adversity and affliction. We got that.
Yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore.
So just like Moses stood up boldly, we have to continue to stand up boldly and teach our brothers and sisters. Don't fall back. Keep these commandments. Keep working. Keep pushing. Endure. So we're going to have the teachers that's going to show us the way that we should go. Come on.
But thine eyes shall see thy teachers.
And we will see the teachers, and we will hearken unto them. Come on.
And thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, This is the way, walk ye in it. When ye turn to the right hand, and when ye turn to the left.
And it's so important to have these proper teachers and stuff right now, because a lot of them have been through it. What you're going through now, they've already been through it. So now I could look at the officer and say, you know what? I've been through something similar to that, and this is what I did to get over that. I can give him advice and counsel. So now it makes his journey through his trial and tribulation easier than what I had to go through, because I have the experience. I can help him out. And guess what he's got to do once he overcomes that? He's got to help the next person, right? So that's why it's so important to have teachers, and you listen to them. Don't go to the left, don't go to the right, but listen to the counsel of those teachers that we have, right? Let's go to Malachi 2:7. So those teachers that we'll have will tell us, show us the way to walk in it. What are they teaching us? What are they showing us? What's the great advice that they can give us? Malachi 2:7.
Malachi chapter 2 and verse 7. For the priest's lips should keep knowledge.
So our teacher's lips, they should keep knowledge.
And they should seek the law at his mouth.
We got to seek the law at his mouth. Not, and you know what this goes into? We don't want teachers over us or leaders over us that's going to tell us the things that we want to hear. We don't want teachers and leaders to give us the counsel that we want. We want the teachers and leaders over us that's going to tell us the raw, uncut. Hey, listen, this is what the law is. You doing this, you messing up. You got to get right. You know, now maybe they're not going to say it that way, but I'm just saying you want a teacher that's going to tell you the raw, uncut, nothing sugar-coated. You know, you look at your so-called pastors today, your T.D. Jakes, your Creflo Dollars, your Juanita Bynums, all these people, they tell their congregation what they want to hear so they feel good about themselves. But guess what? We're going to tell you what you need to hear to pull you out of that fire, right? That's the difference. That's what you want. You want a teacher that's going to keep the laws at his mouth, even when the law come out and you don't like it. When we go at camp and we tell women about the pants or grow your beard, something simple as that, or your hair and all this, that, and people fight us on that. We say it whether they want to hear it, whether they want to listen, whether they like it or not. We're going to tell you what the laws say, because we're not trying to tell you things so you be our friend. We're trying to tell you things so you can get the kingdom. All right, so that's what you've got to be seeking from your teachers. Let's go to Proverbs 30. And I want verse 8.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 8. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches.
Now, here's what Solomon learned, because Solomon had the world in his hand. He had everything, right? And it was women that jacked him up. And he learned something. Read it again. I love the scripture right here. Read this again.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 8. Remove far from me vanity and lies.
So remove far from me things that have no value.
Give me neither poverty nor riches.
Now, Lord, I ask you, don't let me be poor, but also don't let me be rich. How many of you guys make that prayer? Lord, don't let me be rich.
Damn.
I don't think anybody make that prayer. Lord, whatever you do, don't let me be rich. All right? But Solomon's saying, listen, I don't want to be poor, Lord. Don't make me rich. Guess what he's asking for? He wants to be middle class, just like pretty much all of us are, middle class, in the middle. You know, we have enough to eat. We have a place to cover our shame. We have the food, the water, the clothing that we need. You know, sure, we would like more, but guess what? We have what we need. So that's what Solomon's asking for. All right? Come on.
Feed me with food convenient for me.
Give me the food that's convenient for me. Guess what that could be? Manna and quail. You know, and you may say, look, I'm tired of that, but guess what? It's enough to get you by until we get out of this wilderness and to make it to the other wilderness. All right? So all you need is just those things to get you by. You're being proven right now. You want to say something, officer?
I was just going to say, this kind of cut me right now. I just got through telling my wife, hey, I'm tired of eating sandwiches for lunch. This guy cutting me.
So you murmuring, huh?
Yeah, I was murmuring, man.
So you got to get that food that's convenient for me. All right. Where do we leave off?
Verse 9.
That's all I wanted, just verse 8. Right
Yes,
there.
sir.
No, go to verse 9. Go to
Verse 9. Lest I be full and deny thee.
Because if you give me too much and I get to the point where I'm full, I'll deny thee, meaning, hey, man, I got a nice house. I'm living good. I got this car. Next thing you know, you start thinking, I did it. I'm the one that go to work every day. I'm the one that got that job. I'm the one that created this business. I'm the one that's thriving. You forget that who blessed you, who allowed you to be in that position. Because you get too full, you deny the Lord. Solomon did, right? When he started choosing women and worshiping other, studying other gods and everything else. Read on.
And say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal.
Now, if I'm poor, then guess what? I'm too consumed with how can I eat? What am I going to eat? Then now if I have to steal to get it, then that's just what I have to do. And now I'm committing sin. So I don't want to be rich and I don't want to be poor.
And take the name of my God in vain.
I don't want to take the name of my God in vain. So, Lord, at the end of the day, please give me food that's convenient for me. That's what we got to be praying. Give me Psalms 78, 1 through 8.
Psalms chapter 78, verse 1. Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, showing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord, and his strength, and his wonderful works that he hath done. For he established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come...
So what do we make known to the children? We have to remind our children. Listen, the generation, what? This is what we reminded our children. Read this.
For he established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel.
So he established a testimony in us and a law in us, right? And law to Israel, come on.
Which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children.
We have to let this be known to our children. What are we teaching our children? Watch this.
That the generation to come might know them.
That the generation to come, our children and their children, will know what?
Even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God.
So we teach them to set their hope in God, not in the things of this world, because they're going to come and they're going to go, whether it's jobs, whatever it is in this world, it's going to come and it's going to go and it's going to be destroyed once the Lord returns. So to put your hope in God, come on.
And forget not his works.
And not forget.
And not forget the works of God.
Don't forget the works of God, meaning look at all the things, that the Lord have done. Don't forget those works.
But keep his commandments.
You got to keep his commandments at the end of the day, because why?
And might not be as their fathers.
So you don't be like your forefathers that was in the wilderness. Don't be like them. Why?
A stubborn and rebellious generation.
That was a stubborn and rebellious generation.
Generation.
None of them made it to the promised land. But only two did. Only two was worthy enough. So he's saying we have to teach our children, don't be like them. So guess what? That is letting them know, you know what? Look at the matter of fact, what is it? Jeremiah 6:16? Get that real quick. We coming right back to this. Jeremiah 6:16.
Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16. Yes, sir. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths.
Look at the old path.
Where is the good way?
Where was the good way?
And walk therein.
So when you look at Abraham and how he handled his temptation, walk in that. But when you see how our forefathers handled the wilderness, don't walk in that. So look at those old paths.
And ye shall find rest for your souls.
And if you hold on, you're going to eventually find rest for your souls. Now, that rest isn't right now, but if you keep following the right examples, you will find rest.
But they said, we will not walk therein.
Some of us will still be like, I'm not walking in that. I'm not going to follow that example. I'm doing it the way I want to do it. So let's go back to verse 8 again in Psalm 78.
Psalm 78, verse 8. And might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation.
So we teach our children to keep the commandments and follow after and trust in God and follow after his laws, statutes, and commandments, so we don't be like those our forefathers that were what? A stubborn and rebellious generation.
And a generation that set not their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast with God.
Their spirit wasn't steadfast with God. That's why when you read, Exodus, you read Leviticus, you read Numbers, you'll see that time after time after time we end up murmuring, idolatry and just all other types of sins and stuff that we kept going into. And that was a stubborn and rebellious generation. Go to Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, I'm just going to end it right here. Last scripture. Let's go to Philippians. Let's go to Philippians chapter 4. Now remember, the theme of this is the Lord's proven you, right? So let's go to Philippians 4 and verse 19. Last scripture.
Philippians chapter 4 and verse 19. But my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus.
So look, that's the thing right there. God is going to provide everything you need to get through whatever it is you're going through in this body, in this life. But it's not going to be instant, like how you fed the 5,000. It ain't going to be instant like that. You're going to have to throw your net out there and catch a fish and maybe pull the money out of his mouth. Not physically, but you understand what I'm saying. Right. You may have to actually be willing to sacrifice, not that you're going to, but be like Abraham, where he was willing to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac, because the Lord told him to. You have to be willing to do whatever it is the Lord tell you to do and have enough faith and understand that he's going to see you through. Read that again.
Philippians chapter 4, verse 19. But my God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus.
The Lord will supply all your needs. So with that, Israel, I pray you got something out of this class. The Lord's proven you. Don't fail the test. All right? Make sure that you hold steadfast, you endure, and you understand that he's with you every step of the way, and he's going to give you all that you need, to be successful in this life. Always look at the generations of old and look at the good examples, look at the bad examples, and make sure you follow the right examples. With that, I say shalom. You have something you want to say, officer?
I just wanted to point out something you used to always tell us all the time is, when you're praying to the Lord, we know we're going through tests, but while we're praying to the Lord, ask the Lord, hey, show me how can I get past this test? What do I need to see?
What do I need to learn?
Yes. What do I need to learn in this test that I'm in right now, so that way I can move on to the next one instead of staying in the same test. I just wanted to pass that piece of advice.
Yeah, that's very, very key. Is a lot of times we pray, Lord, get me through this test.
Right. Not
understanding that you're going through that test to prove you or for you to learn something. So one of the ways to speed up your test is to ask him, Lord, I'm going through this trial and tribulation. What is it? You want me to learn from this so I can learn it quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want to learn it quickly so I can get through this. So what is it you want me to learn, and then you work on that. He'll reveal it to you. Okay, that's what I need. Okay, all right, let me work on that. All right. So pray for those things. What do I need to learn through this? All right. So with that, I say shalom.
Used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road. Purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.